Greetings shipmates, let's make mistakes. Captain Bravado here, and today we are going to be showing a game in the T-61 and the Dunkerque. This is divisional play again between myself and UrbanSlayer. The reason we are in these tier 6 ranked ships today is ahead of the new ranked sprint season, which is going to feature tier 6 ships. As we did the last ranked sprint in a few hours, we thought we'd get a bit of practice in early doors. Matchmaking was quite favourable for this game. We did try a couple of others before this one that weren't so favourable, to say the slightest. However, this wasn't a bad game as things turned out in the end. You've probably seen by now we do tend to play a lot of divisional play together on these channels. Myself and UrbanSlayer did do the last 2 ranked sprint seasons fairly quickly, but we play pretty compatibly well together. We did last time out in ranked, we played the same combination of a battleship and a DD. I think majority of it from memory. I was in a Nicholas and he was in a Julio Cesar, so lots of things died very quickly. This is an interesting game because it does ebb and flow a little bit. It's in our favour, then it's not in our favour, and then we make it in our favour. Obviously the perspective view is taken from my ship, it's my replay, and UrbanSlayer in the Dunkerque just behind me, gold on the minimap, is definitely worth keeping an eye on during this game. There'll be various points here where gunfire you'll see come over my boat towards the spotted targets, dealing hell for leather damage, and basically keeping me alive long enough to get into good positions from some very bad positions to actually have an influence on the game. So without further ado, as we find ourselves in the A-cap, we're just doing a bit of spotting at the moment of this Nuremberg. We had delivered some early torps over there. I haven't fired because there's no need. Look at these low health and those torpedoes coming in from our CV. It's best not to bother. And the temptation is overwhelming here to fire and get the kill still, but we're not going to do that. The boat's done the job for us, and we've managed to take the A-cap. And they've got quite a heavy presence at Charlie at the moment, and out the back of Bravo, and our fleet is abandoning it. With CVs in the game at the moment, it does make things a little bit more challenging, but you just got to play a little bit more cautiously. I wouldn't be pushing through the back of Alpha to try and get in behind them at the moment because of the risk of being spotted by that carrier and pushed out in the open. But there's various points in this game where you just wonder what the opposition were thinking about. If a DD spotted, why would you not be shooting at it? Especially if he's going to be a threat to you. But sometimes people just don't think a DD's a threat. And while it's still floating, it's a threat. It's a big torpedo threat, and this is very, very much so a threat, this boat. I have played a lot of games on the 61. I really enjoy this boat, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to use this for ranked. We were experimenting between our mix, and I think I'm playing between this and the Farragut at the moment as choices. Now, the reason I'm staying in Alpha at the moment is because we've got a couple of DDs north of Charlie. And I just want to make sure they can't get through this gap. So we've got ourselves spotted there. While everything's pushing away, I decided we might as well put a little bit of fire out on this Acaster as well. He hasn't bothered getting dressed for the occasion, he's got no flags on it either, so why not take advantage of the situation. We've got a bit of island cover here. The Dallas is retreating away, so we just carry on putting the fire down, use that island cover, and turn away undetected, and we are still firing for free. Pay attention to where my teammate is at the moment. He's Dunkirk. He is just behind me. He's got his guns on the front of there poking out, and he's just peppering anything that happens to come my way. It's still very, very early in this game, very cagey. Well, we've got a team moving around, be it Bravo Cap at the moment. Matsuki's not really hanging around, which is not a surprise. There's 3 DDs pressing that. Sometimes safety in numbers. Sometimes stupidity works as well. Not always the way it was designed or engineered to. So I've stuck some preemptive torps out there in case that Acasta decided he wanted to turn back up towards Alpha. Right now I'm concerned with shooting that island, because you should always torpedo the island. Good team play that. And making sure that they can't push all the way into Alpha as well, and then we'd lose control of all 3 caps and give them the opportunity to push through. I didn't say it was a good plan, but it's a plan nonetheless. Even a bad plan is better than no plan sometimes. Some may argue differently, some may not. But we have lost another ship. We are 130 points down. I am reversing now because the plan here was to be able to disengage forwards quickly, and if I'd gone nose in, that island that is directly behind me would have blocked my escape route, basically running back to hide behind my big friendly battleship there. So I'm just edging the boat backwards just to try and keep these ships spotted over here at the moment, because they're firing from smoke, but they're firing from this side of the smoke, and we're going to loose and see if we can do anything about that Gremmy Ashi. First shot we get a fire, which is always handy. Second set of shells are in the air now. Now he's gone behind the smoke. We are now firing for free at him, which is very, very useful. He's holding his course and a little turn on the prediction out, and unfortunately our shells haven't quite landed there. But now we know they're pushing away from Bravo. I'm going to swing this boat around now and come up a little higher. Our Nuremberg in the far south there at the moment is heavily overextended. When you're in a CV game, you don't drive your cruiser off down the map on your own. You're asking for trouble there, really, because he's got no support. There's no one's going to support him or protect him. If the CV decides he wants to come and strike him, he's going to strike him. And there it is. The Bogue has deleted the Nuremberg. Thanks for playing. And now we're 400 points behind. We're also 5 ships to 2 down at the moment, so we need to start making this happen a little bit. Now, slight misplay, but hey, it wouldn't be a mistakes made video without a little misplay. But we need to recover from these misplays. So I see the Dallas is coming in there just off the screen to the right, but we dropped some torpedoes off in the direction of this Igor, because I'm expecting he's just going to come into that cap, nose in there. See what he can do about Al Matsuki at the bottom there. So I've opened fire to try and assist. Drop my smoke screen, see what we can do about getting rid of him. Immediately I'm hit and my engine's taken out. Now I don't repair this straight away, just in case any residual fire comes in. I don't want to repair the engine and then find I'm on fire. However, there goes the Eagle. So the engine is out, the Dallas is closing in. Frustration is starting to loom. He's just taken a big hit there from UrbanSlayer behind me in the Dunkirk. He's aware of my predicament. I have already warned him on comms at the time. And now we're on fire. So we've lost the engine, we're in hydro, we've had to repair and put that out. So that's that part done. Bearing in mind we're hydroed, I've dropped the torpedoes off, and then we're running and pushing away, and there we go, we're on fire. Twice. So we've been hit by the Dallas and set on fire, and by the CV. However, even with those hydros on and those torpedoes spotted from the moon, he's managed to drive into them and get himself killed. I'm not complaining, it obviously does us a favour, but obviously I've got 2 fires on me, I'm heavily burning, I'm just spitting the torpedoes out because I'm not entirely sure I'm going to survive, and I didn't see the point in sinking with them still on board the boat. However, we do manage to survive, but we haven't got a lot of health left. But we have managed to rid ourselves of another 2 ships in that little encounter. Although we are still 180 points behind, we have managed to take the Bravo cap now. The Matsuki has managed to finish that off. Looking to push around the island here. Now, but again, as we said before, why would you push up in a CV game without support? And this is exactly what the Congo's done. He's driven out the top. He's far, far away from our CV. There's no fighters anywhere around him. And he's gone and got himself lined up for another torpedo drop from their Bogue. Disappointing to say the least. But, you know, that won't be the last error you see during this game. As we're going to try and push through this cap now. And then come up come back through Bravo and deal with these two battleships as they come in. Noting the position of the Emerald there, he is at the moment is nose in on us, so he wants to come back and take this cap. Now, do they need to? Probably not, really, if you're the enemy. But we are losing ships. I mean, the Congo up north seems to have managed to survive that strike. New Mexico, however, is pushing in on me. I'm turning away. We are hard to pull. Drop the torpedoes off. This thing does not turn particularly quickly, so you need to give yourself a lot of time. She's got quite a slow rudder for a DD, and her turning circle's abysmal. So anything that gets close to like 8 kilometres, that's about the time you want to be thinking about turning away quickly. However, fortunately, UrbanSlayer is keeping the New Mex busy. They don't know I'm down here because I was last spotted up by UrbanSlayer. Coming round underneath the island allowed me to get a different position to torpedo from. And that's the New Mexico removed from the game. We're still 200 points behind. We've only got 5 ships left. They've still got a DD lurking around out there somewhere, but last time he was spotted was way up on the A line. And the Matsuki over here is having a particularly good game as well, to be quite honest. He's been keeping those battleships busy down there for a while and around B from the north side, while I was busy working on the ships from the south side. But we are still losing, and we do need to get on with getting this game taken to bed. Again now, the Matsuki's pushed across there, and the Fuso is going to start angling in shortly. Unfortunately, I've been spotted by planes, so I turn my defensive AA off because he's well within my aura. Put some fire on him to get rid of him, and then we turn the AA off again straight away. And we don't need to continue being spotted while he's inside our AA bubble if he's not coming to attack us. We do manage to hit the Fuso with the torpedo though, and get a flood on him, which, as we can see from our timer, is immediately repaired. I've called this out to my teammate, who should be switching over to HE sometime around now to see if we can start a second fire on him. 200 points. Now again, I'm plane detected here, and I can see that gunfire coming from that smoke cloud of the Emerald over my shoulder towards the Normandy. Now, why would you not be shooting at the spotted DD coming towards you? Not once did he fire at me. You may notice again there I did turn the AA off as the planes flew over me, and I've left it on for the time being, just in case they decide to come back. Torpedoes go out towards the Emerald. The score's slowly starting to creep back in our favour. I'm spotted, he's out of the smoke. But having a little look there, it seems he hasn't decided to get himself dressed for this game either. There's no flags, there's no camo. I've obviously immediately gone for smoke, because why wouldn't you if it's available and he's there. Luckily that Normandy over my shoulder has finished the job off for me, and now we're actually in the lead. We've got fighters above us working on those bombers, and we're just going to carry on pushing over towards Charlie now, see what we can do about getting this cap taken. On the way, we've got the AA running because we're not being targeted by anything, to be quite honest. But the bogey's spotted. Now, nothing's still targeting me, so I've decided I'm just going to free fire at him. I'm not entirely sure where the Fuso is, so it's a bit of a gamble. The Normandy over there is far too busy with UrbanSlayer. He's doing an excellent job keeping their battleships occupied as well, while I push through to try and get this cap secured for us. See there, we've got some fires in, a few more fires, hopefully go back on there after his repair. We've actually citadeled in there. We are running FHE on this build, and we're just going to keep peppering down this bogue, hopefully get this game done. You'll see there UrbanSlayer's managed to rack himself up a Confederate. From comms here, the plan was, I believe he's quite low health now, yeah, that he was actually going to ram that Normandy. But he couldn't catch the Normandy. The Normandy turned away instead of in on him. He turned around to try to ram to finish him off, and it just didn't work. So he ends up chasing him across the map now, which is interesting because all the guns are on the front of the Dunkerque. So he just carries on. Fortunately, we managed to finish off the bogue, which immediately relieves all the air threat. LCV himself obviously checking out a long time ago. Gramiash has been spotted up on the sea line. Matsuki's giving chase. I'm just sitting here for a minute, just waiting to see if that Fuso is directly in front of me. If he pops around the corner, I was going to disappear out to the right, vice versa. There he is, spotted, and we know we've secured the cap. So we're just going to push on now, push out, and get this game done and dusted. As a test for our ranked tier 6, this wasn't a particularly bad game for it actually. There was many misplays along the way, as to be expected. Some from us, many from the opposition team. Questionable why you wouldn't be wanting to shoot at a DD that was open water gunboating. But they did, and there won't be too many complaints from me. I'm just pushing now, just to keep this Fuso spotted for the Normandy, where he peppers some shots down on him. UrbanSlayer still chasing their Normandy down into the Alpha cap, so it's just going to take a few seconds longer to get the game finished, and then it will be all over. I have been Captain Bravado with UrbanSlayer as an excellent supporting act. Until we sink again, shipmates, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can find us on Twitch. Thanks again. Bravado out.